talk my shit, ayy, yeah, ayy.
All right, man. Hey, we breaking new ground today, man.
Oh, we break some ground, man. We just got a guest that we've been excited to get on for the past week or so.
Right. We got a fantastic guest that's got a lot of basketball knowledge, and we doing it remotely, bro.
Oh yeah, we got a Zoom. We zooming the live. We got DeMya on live. You know, DeMya. I would like for you to introduce yourself. Tell the Baseline Talk podcast who you are, just kind of your journey and what's going on right now.
Well, my name's DeMya Walker-Wheatfall. I am a 14-year retired WNBA player. I graduated from the University of Virginia with a degree in urban government, a minor in philosophy. I'm from New Jersey originally, transplanted into Houston. I can truly call myself a Houstonian now because I've been here long enough. But I'm always a Jersey girl at heart. I have coached for about 10 years. I started coaching AAU 12 years ago. I'm a wife. I have 3 kids. My daughter, Zakara, is a senior at Summer Creek High School. She's committed to play for Rutgers University. My son, Bryson, he's a junior at Summer Creek, and he currently holds offers from TCU and LSU. And then my little one, she the boss, follow her on YouTube, chat with her.
How old is she?
She's 7. And she's going to be the business mind of the family. She's about that life.
Okay, she's about that life. I mean, listen, did you hear that? 14-year vet, is that what you said, DeMya? 14 years in the WNBA. Corey, we had a conversation with him earlier. We had an excellent conversation.
Real good conversation. And I think where we're going to start it off with, I think we have to retract something that we said in a couple of in earlier podcast episodes about DeMya chime in and help us out here. But it was something to do with Power Fives and elite kids are only, going to Power Five. It was something she kind of brought it to our attention, and we told her that on the podcast we will retract that statement because she shed some light on us, and she was definitely right. If you could chime in on that, just refresh our memory.
Well, what we were talking about was it kind of started with Power 5 offers and really focusing on like the top 5 of the Power 5 conferences. And then we were saying we were kind of like dimming the light on if you were like from 6 to 13, 14, however many schools are in their conference, Power 5. And I was saying like, yes, okay, the top 5, yeah, they're cool or whatever. But you have to remember that schools like North Carolina weren't in the top 5 3 years ago. It's about their recruiting class. It's about how they decide to run their program. And I was explaining, like, with my daughter and her offers, one of the things I wanted to focus on was that school between 7 and 10 or 11, because the truth of the matter is social media and other things kind of run the world right now. And if you're not in that 1% of Power 5s and you go to a Power 5, yeah, it's cute. You went to UConn, but you're never going to play. Like never. So you're like a junior because those programs are built class on class on class. So the class that's not playing still got heat. They're just waiting their turn. And the class that comes in after them still got heat. They're just waiting their turn. And your class, you might be the heat, but you're going to wait your turn. It's very rare that you just slide in and take over, but you can go to a 6 to 10. It's the same conference, great TV exposure, great business opportunities, great basketball, and you have a chance to jump into that one. But now when you become that top 1 through 5, you on the floor because you were a part of that building process. You were a part of that product that people are now bragging on that they weren't necessarily talking about when you first got there. And you have to take those things into account. So I don't think we should say, oh, she's going to a Power 5, but it's not UConn. And UConn's not even in a Power 5. Let's be honest. But it's not South Carolina. It's not Notre Dame. But at the same time, it's the team that's going to play Notre Dame 2-3 times. And you can either be on the come up or the downward spiral. Which one do you want to be on?
Excellent point.
Very good point. Very good point.
Yeah, and DeMya, you was also talking about your daughter. You was also talking about players that come in this 6'2" frame, but not your traditional type of 6'2". You were talking about players that with versatility and those type of players going into a right program that will showcase that versatility. Could you shed a little light on that topic as well?
Absolutely. I think one of the biggest issues when you're talking about those hybrid players, they're 6'1" to 6'3". They can post up, they can handle, they can shoot. They kind of have a little bit of everything in their game. In today's day and age, there's not many coaches that can coach a hybrid because all they see is one or the other. And hybrids are mismatched players. So they're not, oh, I'm going to make her guard the 5'2" girl because you said you're a guard. Well, that don't make sense. It's about a mismatch game unless you're going to post me up on the 5'2" guard that's guarding me so I can get her in foul trouble and get her out the game. That's coaching. Like hybrids, you got to play chess, not checkers.
That's true.
And those type of players often get overlooked when we're talking about the rankings, when we're talking about schools in general, because they're long game players. They're the players that are going to shine 2 years into college, 3 years into college. When you get the college coaches that are like, I got a scout report, I know exactly who does what. When this one comes in, I'm going to move her to the 4. When this one comes in, I'm swinging her out to the 3. When this one comes in, I might slide her to the 2 because I got another hybrid on my bench that I'm going to bring in at the 3. And if I got to go zone, what's better than 5 players that are 5'11" and up playing zone? Really play it out. Or man-to-man where you can switch everything because your hybrid player guards all 5 positions.
I think
so it's just little things like that. But that's coaching. And that's culture too. We see tall players and we think go post up. Or we see tall players and they're really skilled shooters, just like shooters. And so we sit them in the corner. But when you have a real hybrid, and hybrid is overused, I will say that it's overused because a real hybrid, you got to be able to handle the ball. You got to be able to get on the wing and attack. You got to be able to shoot. You got to be able to post up. You got to be able to defend at least 3 positions. That's a real hybrid. If you can't do those things, you're not a hybrid. You one or the other. And that's what coaches and a lot of people get caught up in. And it happens with my daughter a lot too. It's like, well, we need you to go over here and play the 4. There's nothing wrong with playing the 4 if I'm playing the 4 on this game. And then the next game, it can't just be, well, you played the 4 yesterday. Well, what's the matchup? What are we doing? There's got to be a plan when you're coaching.
You said a key word there, and I want you to elaborate on it. And that word was a couple of words, was long game. We're playing the long game. So describe what you mean when you say the long game.
It's funny. I was talking to my daughter a few weeks ago, and she has dreamt of being a McDonald's All-American her whole life. Like, I'm going to be a burger girl, right? And we were having this conversation because I'm a realist. I always keep it real with her. I'm looking at, how she's been played in summers, how even though it's a high school All-American game, it's based on summer AAU productivity. And I asked her, I said, would you rather be a McDonald's All-American high school or a college All-American first team? And she said, well, I want to be both. And I was like, okay, yeah, but which one, if you had to choose, would you want to be? And I said, just take your time, think about it, tell me later. She came back, she was like, Mom, I want to be a college All-American. I said, you're right. You would rather be a college All-American because college All-American come with money. And money is business. And basketball is business. When you leave high school, this is a business. It is, they are getting what they need from you, and you are getting what you need from them. And hopefully you chose the right school so y'all have the same goals, so it all falls in line. That's the problem with the transfer portal, but that's a different day, whatever. But it's really important that you play the long game. It's not about what people think about you when you're 16, 17. It's, do you get what you need in order that when you're 21, 22 years old, you can make smart business decisions that advance your career?
So in your experience, when you say long game and, those that, put a lot of focus and emphasis on the accolades of a 16, 17-year-old player, and you spent several years, 15 years in the league, percentage-wise or number-wise, or however you want to say it, what do you think that percentage of players that's in the WNBA that played the long game, whose recognition didn't come when they were 16 and 17?
That's a good question. I don't know if I can put it into percentages, but I could say something like this. I graduated from college, the ABL folded. I'm supposed to be drafted. There is no question about it. And then they decided they had to go to court, did all this stuff. They decided that the ABL, those veteran players that had been playing like 5-10 years were going to be considered rookies in the WNBA and therefore eligible for the draft. Well, I go from expected to be drafted, can't wait to buy my new car, to not drafted and have to fight for everything as a free agent, right? But long game, 14 years later, I was one of 4 from that draft that played 10 plus years. So the long game is knowing what you're good at, knowing that you belong, knowing that you are capable, and knowing that one person's opinion does not dictate the trajectory of your career. That's long game. That's saying you right now are saying I'm this. I know I'm that. I just got to keep going. Because it levels out eventually. And when it does, if you kept going, you're going to win. Like plain and simple, you're going to win. I'm not a WNBA All-Star, a WNBA champion, a EuroLeague champion, a Western Conference champion twice, 2-time EuroLeague champion. I've got multiple other country championships. I don't get all of that because somebody told me that this one was better than this one when it came to me. I get it because I know I'm better than you. There's no question. It's just a matter of me waiting on that one opportunity to put it on Front Street.
Awesome.
That's the long game.
That's right. And I got a question, DeMya. We're talking about long game as well, because that's why at times I really don't put a lot of emphasis on high school rankings, because they're kind of artificial, because it really don't get serious until the next level, the collegiate level. That's when the rankings kind of play itself out. But I want to ask you this question. You have a 5'5" point guard, and then you have a 6'2" hybrid. Okay. Now, talking long game, when you're kind of evaluating those two players, and the 5'5" point guard is an excellent player. I mean, general leader, what have you. The 6'2" player is just what that is as well. Can shoot the three, can dribble down the floor, can guard multiple positions. In your mind, how would you kind of rank that player on basically foresight, and I just want to get your opinion on that and the difference between the two.
There are a few 5'7" and 5'8" that just got it, and it don't matter what size you are, they just got it. God gave them something, right? But for the most part, let's play the averages. If my 6'2" can guard that 5'5", can the 5'5" guard my 6'2"?
Not at all.
And that's how I make my decision. Because this one can dribble, that one can dribble. Now the 5'5", that's another problem with like hybrid players. You look at them and you're like, well, I want them to be Allen Iverson. I want them to have their butt to the floor and they whoop, 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 dribble. A hybrid's not doing all of that. They're the keep it simple player. I'm going to rip and get past you because you can't stop that. I'm going to give you one move and get to my next move. I might hit you with a step back, but their game is simple. And we don't put worth in simple. But my grandma always said, kiss is the part of the game. Keep it simple, stupid.
And then, DeMya, that's just one aspect of the game. Just talk about, when we talk about rebounding, when we talk about a presence inside, and then even post-up ability.
Well, talk about playing the press. Talk about playing the press. You got a choice between a 5'5" and a 6'2". Your 5'5" can see over the press, right? Can she see over the press?
Not with a 6'2" on
them. But can a 6'2" see over the press?
Easily.
You don't even need them to dribble. They don't even got to score. They're the glue. They're the player that you can't get the ball inside to your dominant post player because no one can see her. But I can. You talk about they're the player that they don't need the ball to affect the game because they can rebound, they can play defense on multiple positions, and yes, they can score. But to your point, Swift, it's about the fact that they do multiple things. And this game, no matter how much we like it, slice it, it's shifting to versatility.
Right. Which actually, I feel, makes them a little bit more valuable.
Right.
Think about Breanna Stewart right now.
Definitely.
Breanna's like 6'4.5". She shoots the three better than almost her whole team.
Right. And
she pushed the ball on the floor, but she's making the pass. Like, I think we put too much emphasis on this player or that player can score 100 points. That's good. I wish I had a teammate that could score 100 points. Then again, I wish I didn't because me and her might be fighting in the locker room because I'm going to need the ball.
Right.
So, it's the gift and the curse. But I think you have some coaches, they're guard coaches. They're guards themselves. It's called the little person complex. Sometimes you got little people and they hate when you disregard someone because they 5'5" or 5'4". I personally think if you can go, you can go. I don't care what size you are. It's just when you take players that are 6'1", 6'2", 6'3", and play multiple positions and pigeonhole them for your own personal gain in the grassroots area. That's where I have a problem. I think when you get to college, you're going to be what you're going to be. That coach job is on the line just like your scholarship. Day to day, you work for it, which people don't seem to understand. You work for that scholarship every day.
Yeah.
But,
can I ask you this? You spent 14, 15 years in the league, and you've been a grassroots coach, mom, and everything. What is your recommendation or answer to, we're in the girl space, and I don't know, men just dominating the coaching and the tournament directing or the club directing or what is your recommendation to get more?
Corey, you starting something. Corey.
I want to know.
Because that is a pet peeve of mine. It is. I talk to so many of my WNBA sisters and friends, and it's a pet peeve of theirs too. Here's the thing. If you wanted to build a rocket ship, right? Who would you go to? The kitchen auto mechanic or the NASA expert? Which one would you go to?
The NASA expert.
Going to the expert.
Okay. if you want to build a professional athlete that can handle the WNBA and the likes of high level, mid level, low level, lesser level, I don't think any is low, you going to college for free, but like a lesser level college women's basketball player, who is the only species that has ever done that?
Only women play in the WNBA.
Only women play women's basketball. But we have so many, it's a male dominated field, and I just don't understand. I hear all the time, well, we can't get women to come back. It's because you're not willing to give them the power. You want to give them a little bit. You want to say, well, we need a woman on the bench, so we'll make you the assistant. But I'm the one with the experience and the knowledge. What I look like playing backup to someone who has never done what I do.
Right.
And that is where the problem comes in. We're like, oh, well, just because you played doesn't mean you can coach. Very true. I know quite a few. This is a true statement. But can we say that about the men too?
No.
Because just because you never played doesn't mean you can coach when it comes to the nuances of women's basketball. And by that, I mean the little things. I mean understanding that her attitude or her snapback is not because she's mad at a teammate. She might be frustrated at herself. And the frustrating at herself might be stemming from something that old girl said to her 2 weeks ago. But you don't know that because you ain't in the mind of a woman. And those are the things, like girls basketball is emotions. Girls basketball is feelings. I don't care what nobody say. Oh, it's just basketball. That is a load of crap. Girls basketball, boys basketball. Boys basketball, I don't even think they have emotions half the time. They just out there getting it. Girls be out there getting it, but they're always going to be women first. You got to be able to manage that type of stuff. You got to understand the mental aspect of women's basketball and how that looks. And then we can go technical too. When you look at things, I played this game before, so I understand that they're running this to get this. You might understand it too. The difference is I know how that girl's hips are going to turn when she gets hit on that screen. I know that her footwork looks a little different. She might be on her cycle. I can agitate her. What guy coach do you know is going to be like, yo, she on her cycle today? Just pick at her.
Right.
What guy coach you know is going to be comfortable saying that?
Right.
It's the little stuff like that. And we get into so much, well, women, what woman is coaching in the NBA? And I'm talking head coach.
I
don't have any problems with male coaches, like none whatsoever. My favorite coach ever was John Wisnett, male coach, right? But his staff had women that he gave power and control to do things. In the grassroots spectrum, I don't see that. I see Essence. I love Coach Kim. She cool. Oh gosh, Oklahoma Swift has a female director coach.
It's not maybe.
Now I want y'all to see how hard I'm thinking. Should I have to think that hard in a girls game for girls basketball coaches? I just think girls respond differently to someone who's been there and done that, and it's about representation, right?
Good point.
Can guys do it? Yes. But if you go to a director's meeting, how many women do you see to talk about the future of young girls?
Of young girls.
Not just, and that's what I'm saying. I'm not even just talking coaches. I'm talking directors, co-directors, managers. I can even go to the videographers nowadays. How many women do you see? And it's like, the men's game gets all the men and the women's game gets all the men. Ooh, where are the jobs for the women? But if you look at the college game, it's getting dominated by women coaches.
It's true.
Women coaches are they are killing it right now.
Yes, they are.
Why do you think that is? Just because they're really, really smart? Or they have something others don't, a different connection?
That's right.
Yeah, I think, at every level, a big percentage, too big of a percentage, I'll say, is men's representation, but all the players are female. 100% of the players are female, and the coaches and directors, tournament directors, even McDonald All-American voters. I mean, we're probably.
Oh, don't get me started on that one, Corey. Wait a minute.
Get started on
How you got McDonald's All-American? How you got McDonald's All-American voters and the majority is guys?
Right.
Where they do that at?
Right.
What?
I doubt there's one female McDonald All-American voter on the men's side. I doubt very seriously there's one.
I want to meet her. If she exists, I would love to meet her.
Right. But on the women's side, I think you can count on one hand and keep a finger or two up how many women that have the privilege to cast a vote. And it wasn't until recently that they added a black female, and that's a whole nother subject
and that's a whole nother situation when you talk about what dominates the field.
That's right. That's a good point.
So you think that a lot of the men would be willing to relinquish the power?
Nope.
More women.
Nope. I think the whole structure has to be reinvented. Mm-hmm. I think the opportunities are endless, which is why I love AAU basketball. Mm-hmm. I think it provides something that kids like me, growing up in the inner city without a lot of resources, just basic stuff. I mean, I had a house, I had a car, but my mom worked 4-5 jobs for all of that to occur. Kids like me that know this is the only way, AAU provides that opportunity. And it's the reason that I started getting involved in AAU to see more of those opportunities. But when you have people with my type of resume, you can't BS them. And that's the problem. I would hire you as the head coach, but you're going to give your opinion too much. You're going to say this too much. They're not going to like you because you're going to tell them the truth. But they can hear the truth from me because I've been there, done that. If you can't hear the truth, you're probably not elite, and you probably should rethink your decisions.
Yeah, because if the tables were turned and it was a boys' team, and there was a man, a male that has spent 15 years in the NBA that desired to coach, there probably wouldn't be.
He glorified.
Yeah, he's glorified. No one would dare say, you'll be assistant to somebody who hadn't played college ball.
The Peach Jam, literally LeBron and Rajon Rondo walked in and was the coach.
Right.
And they wasn't the coach at the end of the bench sitting down talking about good job, fellas. They was standing up coaching that team.
Right.
Because who's going to tell them to sit down?
Right.
But for some reason, when it comes to girls basketball, specifically with male leadership, it's like, well, you don't know more than me because I've been coaching AAU for 10 years. Okay. You've been coaching for 10 years. I've been playing for 30.
That's a good point. I mean, I feel like the grassroots it's a career now. It's a career. But I feel like it's one of the career fields that, is so much manipulation and it's so much just fraudulentness going on because, like, in a lot of places, it takes qualifications. It takes credentials. Mm-hmm. And I feel like this is one of the fields that you can just be sitting on the couch and watching your favorite movie and wake up and say, I want my own team. I want to be an AAU director or whatever.
And just create.
And then you're able to do that. And so then, like when we said, when you got people ranking kids that are just like that. You got people ranking kids that have no history in the game. So I understand your frustration with that because How can you rank a kid or say this kid is deserving to go to this type of school or that type of school, or even have any input on who's the McDonald's All-Americans when you don't have any background experience in that field?
It goes back to what you said earlier.
Go ahead, Corey.
And you said if you're gonna build a rocket, would you choose between a NASA engineer and what was the other?
Auto mechanic.
And an auto mechanic, So if you were going to get in a rocket that was built by auto mechanics to go to the moon, right?
That's like going in the submersible.
Right. So it drives the point home, if someone has spent 30 years playing the game, surely.
It's just insane to say I know more than you because I coach AAU. It's insane.
Right.
I'm going to call a spade. It's insane because I played AAU for 10 years. If we want to just talk about that resume, I am an All-American. I am a double-digit year WNBA vet. One of like 12, maybe 13-ish, less than 20. Right? And I still think that I'm learning. I still think that I watch a game and be like, ooh, I like that wrinkle. Man, let me replay that. Let me watch that again because it's called basketball mind, right? But having played the game, it looks a whole lot different. You ever see, like, on paper, that team looks real good, but then you see them in person and you be like, I saw 6'5", 6'5", 6'5". I thought we was about to get killed, and all 6'5s are soft. They don't even affect the game. It's the same concept to me, and I'm not here to knock anybody's hustle. Like, hey, if they willing to pay you, do you, boo? Cool. But when you challenge the knowledge of there's 144 players in the WNBA, there are like 400,000 basketball players. That is the 1% of the 1%.
Yes.
And then if you're 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 years, you're the 1% of the 1% of the 1%. Right. So to challenge that mindset or not make those players head coaches, that's why you're right. You can't get WNBA players in the AAU scene because you want them to come in and listen to people who have never done what they did.
Wow.
And that is insane.
And that's preventing the knowledge, the wealth of knowledge transferred to the kids, based on, I'm going to call it ego, I'm going to say male ego. And we
got to remember how the girls' game goes, right? So we got to graduate college or sit out until our college class is graduating, right? You can go overseas, you can do whatever you want, but you won't touch the W until your graduating class is graduated, right? So degrees are important. The length of your career, if you're really, really good, is 6, 7 years, maybe. And look at the young ones now. The young ones coming out, they ready. And they can't get on a team because of that, we don't have enough teams and all of that stuff. But when you really play that out, your degree is even more important. Your ability to diversify is even more important. And you have previous WNBA players, like I'm an 8th grade English teacher. That's what I do with my time. Outside of watch basketball, coach basketball, train basketball. Basketball makes me happy. But I'm an English teacher. That's my second career. And y'all know teacher salaries. It ain't like I'm over here rolling in the big dough or something, right? But you get a lot of ex-basketball players who they don't have NBA player retired funding that's going to fund them the rest of their life because they played over a certain amount of years. So you get them to come in and be these assistant coaches, and then they quit because they can't take it. It's bad coaching. It's bad even training. I go watch some trainings sometimes and I cringe. I'm like, so you just gonna teach them how to drop step? No shoulder fake, no look this way to misdirect. They just the defense just gonna move out the way for that move, huh? They just gonna I'm out the way. You get on the cone 6 times, talk about, and then when you get there, you're gonna go in, you're gonna retreat out, you're gonna cross, then you're gonna go da. This is the girls' game. It's crowded. There's not a lot of spacing in the girls' game. If you can't get it in 1 to 2, you're not getting it.
Right.
90, unless you play just the Sister Mary of the poor type defensive team, but then you could get anything there. So it's those little things. It's when you're training, I could tell that you watched a YouTube video. You know how to teach a up and under. This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna jump stop, we're gonna up, and we're gonna under. Nothing about how you get to the jump stop. Nothing about how close your feet gotta be to the ground. Nothing about how you might have to use that Euro extra step to get you a little extra space. Nothing about how you can kind of skip into that. That's because you don't know that unless you actually played and had to endure it and see it and understand what works and what don't work when you actually get to the higher levels. AAU, you trying to get to the higher level, so why wouldn't you have higher level people? Because you don't want to let them be the leaders. You want them to come in and say, well, we're going to let you do it for 2 years as the assistant and learn. What am I going to learn from you?
I mean, they should be learning from you,
Hello.
Yeah, I agree, DeMya, because it's hard when you have this wealth of knowledge and you have all this wisdom, and then you're kind of being led by somebody that's blind, and then that's part of your reputation because you assistant coach, this person leading is really not something that not a decision that you would agree with, but it looks like you all are making that decision because the leader has less knowledge, and you kind of understand, okay, we should be doing this way or that way. And so, I understand why people walk away in that aspect.
I mean, it's politics in everything you do, right? There's politics in AAU. There's politics in the business side of the world. I mean, this is a who you know, not really what you know type of world. But when it comes to sports, what you know determines how far you go. And right now, we're just doing kids a disservice because there's so many. And I'm saying pro because I'm a pro. That's how I think. But you can even go college athletes that maybe they didn't go pro, but they had 4 years of waking up early, going to study hall, having to get to practice, having to get to training. It don't matter what level you play on. College basketball looks relatively the same. It's just the level or talent of the players that changes. But the setup is relatively the same. Especially if you're a lower level coach and you're trying to get to the upper levels, you're running that process no matter what your talent level is. So unless you're going through it every day, can you really tell me what it's like? I've heard male coaches say, in college, it's going to feel like this. How do you know? Oh, well, I had 2 players that went to college and they came back and they told me. Oh.
Right.
That made, okay. All right. I mean, I learned stuff for someone too. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I mean, there are so many athletes, and I say athletes because they're guys and girls, that I have learned from. You know, I have learned, Steve Schumann was like our 3rd assistant with Sacramento. But he would come in and literally teach me how to watch film. Mm-hmm. He would teach me, like, what are you looking at right now? I'm like, well, I'm watching my player because I know I got to guard her. I got to be ready. He was like, yes, but you need to be watching how that help side plays with her. Mm-hmm. You need to be watching, what does she react to?
Mm-hmm.
You need to be watching when she does a forward pivot, what moves does she go to? He put that in my head. A man.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm forever grateful for that, because that's how I teach my daughter. When we're looking at film, what are you looking
Mm-hmm.
at? Don't pay attention to the score. Barely pay attention to your player. Watch what's happening around them, because that dictates what they're doing. So it's not like you can't learn from both species. I'm simply saying, after I teach her that, I say, so I paid attention to this, but then I learned that every time I make a jab, she's going to jump because she's off balance on her left foot.
Right.
And then I pick out, watch this right here. You know how I learned that? Because I played against her so many times, I started to pick up that type of stuff. That's not something you just watch film and see.
Right.
It's something that you experienced. And now you know.
Right.
And the kids will come ask me, Coach D, what you think? What you think about this? What you think about that? I ain't on the staff. I'm over here in the stands being mama bear. I'm over here.
Mm.
Yeah, but you know, Coach D, help us assist out. What you got? Okay, well, you know how you keep going to that move? You keep leaning over like this, so you can't get any balance. You need to bring your chest up. You need to get your shoulders back. But when you get your shoulders back, instead of going, you get people who will teach, always keep your posture here when you're posting up. But truth be told, you want to put a little angle to it. That way I can read your reaction. And when I read your reaction, you're cooked.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know that unless you did it. It's not in a book.
Right.
And it definitely ain't on the YouTube channels with the YouTube experts.
Well, you know, DeMya, I just want you to keep on using your voice, because even in the grassroots game, your name has been surfacing. Your passion is evident. Your resume, your background proves everything that you state. So I just commend you on that, and I commend you on being a great mother. So I just would like for you to just keep on going, keep on speaking, keep on. If you see something that you feel is not right, keep on talking about it. You know, and I just want to thank you for coming on today and sharing your knowledge. And it was very enlightening, and I feel like a lot of female, not only players, but coaches can learn a lot from you.
Yeah, and I want to add to that.
Well, I appreciate y'all having me on.
Yeah, I want to add to that. You actually shed light on us, and I'm just thinking, that we had an open mind and say, hey, you know what, DeMya was right.
Yes, right.
In fact, do you mind coming on the show? And I think us that's club directors or club coaches, male club directors, coaches, evaluators, tournament directors, and things. When we have somebody with some experience like DeMya, I come from corporate America, so as a computer programmer, somebody come in with 20 years of experience developing software. I want you on my team, even if you're better than me.
You gotta welcome that.
Yeah, you gotta welcome that. So I challenge the men, let's get our egos out of the way. Step aside. Because I ain't ran up and down not one WNBA court. So if you've done it for 15 years, well, hey.
And I don't want it to come across like I'm saying men aren't useful, or men can't be head coaches, or men can't be directors. I'm simply saying there's not enough women representation. I'm not saying it has to be 100%, because that would be like saying I don't appreciate our women. One of my seniors is now the front row assistant coach with the Indiana Pacers. She's a female, and she knows her stuff, and she is good. The same way someone could say, well, the guy knows his stuff. Who gonna question Gino? Gino's smart. Gino know this game, right? Coach Wisdom knew defense. He knew his lane, right? I'm simply saying the averages shouldn't be lopsided with men here and women here. It should look like this. I don't know if y'all can see my hands, but it should be like this. You know, that's all I'm saying. Both are needed. You know, like when we looked for a school with Zakara, when she committed, having Coach John there mattered to me because having that male voice is important. You know, like both are important, but it is so lopsided, particularly in grassroots where it's not business yet.
Right.
Where it is teaching young ladies how to be young women. Teaching them, like, we forget that there's life after basketball. These are girls transitioning into women. Nobody knows how a woman develops like a woman. And we like, oh, well, we got an assistant coach to do that. Yeah, but the respect is different. I respect I love assistant coaches. I've been one. I appreciate the love and respect, but everybody knows you listen to your head coach a little differently than you listen to your assistant coach. And in the girls' game, it would just be nice to see more representation in all races, colors, creeds. We just need women.
Need more women
that they can follow behind, that have high morals and high ethics, goals, college degrees, professional basketball experience, college basketball experience. But right now, that's just not what it is. And I really just want to say thank y'all, because I know I told y'all I binged your podcast. So I was like, oh my God, this is good. Yeah. And I just appreciate that you guys, you know, were willing to let me chat with you guys, because these type of shows are important to enlighten our basketball community, specifically in Texas, where it's crabs in a barrel.
Yeah.
And we need to learn how to celebrate. If you're in Texas, we celebrate you. We want you. And for my Jersey people that are going to be watching that, y'all know how I feel about y'all. Go Jersey. One time for my Jersey. But thank y'all so much.
We thank you, and Baseline Talk podcast listeners, teammates, and everything. Again, we try to bring different content and everything, not just about players, but about the whole basketball space. And if you guys like what we bring, we ask that you just simply click the like button, share, and subscribe and comment. And once again, DeMya, we know you got a busy weekend ahead. You got a flight to catch in the morning. You got to get on the road. Your daughter's playing her last July. I want you to enjoy it. And you've been around, and be there to be the best mom, cheerleader possible. And good luck to you guys up in Kentucky. And just thank you once again.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.